Today, I wanted to share my Life Staff build. I've been really enjoying Life Staff ever since the beta. So with this build here, I made it so that I was able to not only heal myself, but heal others, and also be viable enough to do it without maxing out the focus stat and actually going more hybrid-ish. For example, right now, I'm on a strength build with Dex. I have no focus at all. So I'm still able to make it work because of the stuff that I picked in there that really boost up the amount of healing. So for example, the biggest thing that I really love about this is that you're going to pop the Sacred Ground, which is the bread and butter of this entire set. And basically, standing inside of it buffs your healing. So you see how this one right here at the very end of it, it says while allies are in the Sacred Ground, they are healed for 50% more from all healing. So that's a huge boost. On top of even more stuff on the other side. For example, like this one, after dodging, you gain 20% more healing effect for 5 seconds. So basically, all you do is like you dodge and then you heal. You dodge and then you heal. So like right there, you're already getting a good 20%. And if you're standing inside Sacred Ground, then that's 70% right there. On top of that, if you have a buff, you heal for 10% more. What I'm assuming is that it's when you eat a food. So like I always eat foods, so pretty much I guess I'm always getting the 10%. I haven't really fully tested this to see if this is actually working. I don't know, sounds good to me. So I went ahead and I picked this up. Another really nice one is on the left side, Intensify. So this one makes it so that your heavy attacks when you hit a mob gives you 3 stacks, well up to 3 stacks of 10% healing. So you can get 30% healing right there just from doing heavy attacks. So when you look at all of this combined, you're getting 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 10% right here. Just from those alone, from the passive stuff. So pretty much like I was saying, since my thing is at 5 focus, I could still heal myself through a lot of torture and be able to outlast the damage because of having all these stacks of all the percentages of healing. So if I really wanted to try to like do some like side healing, even with a build that doesn't have focus on it, I can still achieve it. And that's what's really good about it. I still recommend trying to get your focus up if you really want to take this seriously. Like if you're trying to be like a main healer or try to do some off healing and stuff, my usual safe point is getting to at least 100 on it. But if you really want to take it really seriously, I think getting it to 150 on focus is like a must because it gives you 20% on healing output just from getting to that point. I found that to be a really nice stopping point. You don't need to go beyond it if you don't want to because the rest of it isn't really that good. You see 20% duration on casted buffs, whatever. 30 mana on self or group kills, that's useless. You get plenty of mana back already with the build I'm going to be showing you. And then when your mana hits 0, you gain 200% mana. You don't want to hit 0. And I've never gotten to the point where I hit 0 like that unless I'm just spamming my heal over and over. So let me show you a little bit of what I do to kind of maximize my healing while also keeping my mana going. One really good ability is this one right here, or the passive, Defensive Light. So when I block a melee attack, it gives me 5% mana back. So basically what I like to do when I'm starting to get a little low on mana, I'll run in front of mobs to purposely just sit there blocking to let them hit me so I can get my mana back so I can continue healing. That's a pretty nice little effect to kind of take advantage of. That way you're not completely dry on mana. Also, if you really want to take having max mana all the time very seriously, I definitely recommend getting Fire Staff because the last ability on Fire Staff is Reheat. And this one makes it so that literally all you do is press an ability and then in 6 seconds, it'll regen all your mana all the way to full. Of course, you have to have the Fire Staff equipped, but if you're going to be like the main healer on a group, I definitely recommend running this setup just so you can always have mana back. So what I typically do is I'll just turn on the flamethrower for like literally a second. So I'll turn it on and shut it off just to let the thing proc so I can go ahead and get my mana back. So that's like a desperate situation. That's if like I'm like completely dry on mana, don't have anything else I could do, don't have potions up, don't have anything ready. that's when I do stuff like this. But yeah, you still don't want to let yourself get to that point, and that's why I recommend in the life staff getting this one. That way you could block some damage and get your mana back. You know, it works really well. Now that we got that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the abilities and the reasons why I chose these. Sacred Ground, of course, the bread and butter of this entire set. It's definitely worth it to get this, especially since this last ability that gives you the 50% more healing. Very important. And if you can let your team know, especially if you're in a random group, a random pickup group, that standing in the Sacred Ground is important, that way they don't run away from it. Because I've had plenty of times where I was doing dungeons and trying to heal for a dungeon, and they constantly run outside of it as if they're scared of the damn thing. So you really need to let them know that it's there for a reason and it's there to keep them alive. And as long as they're able to actually stay in it, you could pretty much God mode heal everybody through every situation. So yeah, it's really important that everybody knows that this is a very good thing to stand in. As far as the passives on this side, I went with this first one just to get over to the end here. And this one makes it so that light and heavy attacks don't cost mana. So this is pretty important, just so that you could be able to like pull mobs, or if you want to contribute to doing some damage, go for it. It works. It's whatever. This one makes it so that the light attacks heal the target for 20% of the weapon's damage when it passes through the enemy, which they did just recently do a fix to this and made it work the way it was supposed to be intended. Because before, we used to be able to just shoot the mob and then it would just like do like a little AoE on the ground and heal everybody inside of it. Fortunately, they nerfed that and it doesn't work like that anymore. I personally preferred it that way because it felt more practical and it made me feel like I can actually contribute to a battle instead of just mindlessly staring at health bars. But it is what it is. They made it more like a traditional healer now. So with this, at least it makes it so that if you do have an opportunity to aim at an actual teammate that's low on health, you could shoot at them and heal them up. And that's basically the point of this. Revitalize is really nice. So this makes it so that light attacks lower your cooldowns by 5%. This is really good for trying to get your Sacred Ground up again, because sometimes you could land up even getting to the point where you have 2 Sacred Grounds on the ground. It's not for very long, but it's still long enough to at least perma it and just keep it going forever. So it's definitely recommended to just like throw some light attacks at the mobs and try to hit them as best as you can. Then this one here makes it so that heavy attacks gives you the 10% extra healing, and it stacks 3 times. So what I usually do with my combos is I would just like hold heavy attack, hit the mob the 3 times, and then I'll go back into light attacking so that Revitalize could start working. And that's basically how I play it out. So at that point, once I have the 3 stacks from the Intensify, I just mix in a bunch of light attacks, do 1 heavy attack, mix in the light attack some more, and then just keep that flow going. On the protector side, I really love Orb of Protection, and the main reason why I love this is because of the Fortify buff it gives. It also gives some extra healing based on your weapon damage. So if you are going more into full focus, you will see greater healing from this. I got every single thing down the line here. This is the one that gives you recovery of healing based on your damage. This one makes it so that when you hit something, it's basically if the teammate is in the area, he's going to get the Orb of Protection, or she is going to get the Orb of Protection, which would give them Fortify and the recovery buff. And then this one here, the Aegis, I don't really understand how this works because it already is giving an AoE, but I decided to get it anywhere because I didn't really have anything else I wanted to pick up, so I got it. And I already explained this one, so this is the one where you block and you get mana back. That one's really important. Along with this one too, when you dodge, you get 20% more healing, which if for any reason, you know, your teammates run outside the sacred healing and you need to do a quick little burst heal on them or something, what I usually do is I'll dodge first before I heal them, just so I can heal them for 20% more than normal. We already know about this one. This one is eating like a food buff, gives you 10% more. At least that's what I hope it does. And then this one makes it so that light and heavy attacks give you Fortify by 15%. So this is just for your personal, you know, just for you. So it makes it worth it. If you want to just like tank a mob or tank a boss or whatever, you could just sit there light attacking it and constantly getting Fortify. And it does stack along with the Orb of Protection as far as I've seen, unless they nerfed that recently. I don't know. This part is more of a choice for you if you want to, especially like with the orb of protection. You could probably go with beacon if you want to. I personally don't really care for beacon because of the long cooldown. So I ended up going with orb of protection because I prefer like the fortify, and I'm mostly solo. So I like to use it on myself to be able to get a little bit of regen and also get the fortify buff. But this heal right here is pretty important. Light's Embrace does a lot of healing, and especially it gets buffed by so much with all the other things. Like I was saying, 110% to healing when you're factoring in the sacred ground and dodging and doing the heavy attacks. If you heal with this thing, it will heal somebody to full health easily. So I definitely recommend this. Then I just went down the line. So basically I got this one. It gives stamina when you heal somebody with it. This one makes it so that you gain 1% of your max mana back for each buff your target has. So basically if they have a food buff, maybe they even have the orb of protection fortify on them, and you heal them, you'll get a little bit of that mana back. So it's a little something, you know, especially since this thing is pretty expensive. It can definitely be worthwhile to get the little extra mana back. And then this one here, it extends the buffs of life staff abilities, like for example, like the sacred ground. So when you have the sacred ground on the ground and then you go ahead and heal somebody, you're extending the thing, and then you can also hit light attacks to lower the cooldown of the sacred ground, and then that's how you're getting that perma, and then that's how you're also getting double stacks of sacred ground even for a few seconds. So it's really nice. But all right, that's the build of life staff. I really loved life staff. I can't live without it. Right now, I'm trying really hard to level up a musket, and it's been extremely painful because I'm always thinking to myself, man, if I had my life staff, I wouldn't be this low on health. And man, I wouldn't have died there if I had my life staff. You know, so like basically it's gotten to the point for me that I cannot play this game without the life staff in my off bar, like ever. Like even right now, where I have a build that's all focused on strength and dex with no focus, I still want to run the life staff because I love the healing with this. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this was helpful. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, guys.